Greetings! I'm Anthony Elmore, President and Founder of the proud Black Buddhist World Association. As you can see, I got my coat on and I'm about to go out, but I thought I would do this Buddhist lecture before I leave. Buddhism is not about some Asian on a mountain meditating. True Buddhism is about understanding worldly affairs. Now, there is a Gosho, and the Gosho is the writings of Nichiren. It says, and the Gosho is called the object of devotion for observing the mind. It reads, quote, Tentai states, by observing the fury of rain, we can tell the greatness of the dragon that caused it. And by observing the flourishing of the lotus flowers, we can tell the depth of the pond they grow in. Milo says, wise men can perceive the cause of things as snakes know the way of snakes. And it goes on further. When the skies are clear, the ground is illuminated. Similarly, when one knows the Lotus Sutra, one understands the meaning of all world affairs. Unquote. You see, the Lotus Sutra teaches us to understand worldly affairs. It is about worldly affairs. It's not about worshiping some Japanese or being in some organization. Now, there is one thing that is very, very, very clear about the Buddhist teachings of Nichiren Shoshu, who teaches us that the Lotus Sutra is the highest of the Buddhist teachings. Nichiren teaches us that the essence of the Lotus Sutra is understanding worldly affairs. Please understand that the Nichiren says the SGI, Nichiren Shoshu, and Nichiren Shoshu do not teach the concept that the essence of Buddhism is worldly affairs. Now, Nichiren writes again, quote, when one knows the Lotus Sutra, one understands the meaning of all worldly affairs. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if you understand the meanings of worldly affairs, that is understanding the depths, the social and the economic ramifications. If you understood the history and you had a better understanding of the games people play on you, then you can make the right calls to do something about it. So the true Buddhism is really understanding worldly affairs. The reason that you get a Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or you get strong black leaders is because they understand worldly affairs. They understand the games that's played on them. That is the true Buddhism. Now, in the Gosho, it's called Reply to a Believer. It reads, quote, if you continue living as you are now, there can be no doubt that you will be practicing the Lotus Sutra 24 hours a day. Regard your service to your Lord as the practice of the Lotus Sutra. This is what is meant by, quote, no worldly affairs of life or work are ever contrary to the true reality. I hope you will deeply consider the meaning of this passage, unquote. Nichiren teaches us to take our jobs, to take our life as a practice to the Lotus Sutra. That's what it means, practicing the Lotus Sutra, being the best people who we can be. Now, in the Gosho, it's called the Council of Decrees, and it reads, quote, Tentai commented on this saying that, quote, no worldly affairs or work are ever contrary to the true reality. A person of wisdom is not one who practices Buddhism apart from worldly affairs, but rather one who thoroughly understands the principles by which the world is governed. See, if you understand how the world is governed, and you get a good, clear understanding, then you can react. See, the Lotus Sutra deals with the law of cause and effect. Now, what these Japanese want to teach you, they want to teach you that there's a man called the High Priest in Nichiren Shoshu, and he knows everything. The highest teachings is the Lotus Sutra, and the Lotus Sutra's highest teachings is in the title. The title is Myoho Renge Kyo, which is the mystic law of cause and effect teachings. If you understand the law of cause and effect, then you are actually teaching. You don't need no master. You don't need no Daisaku Ikeda. If you just understand the title of the Lotus Sutra, then you will be gaining the essence of the Buddhist teachings. And it says what? One who thoroughly understands the principle by which the world is governed. See, Buddhism, or true Buddhism, teaches us how the world is governed. It does not teach you about some person in Japan or some guy named Daisaku Ikeda who is this great teacher. Learn how the world is governed and learn how to operate in this world. This is how you become an enlightened and an intelligent person. Now, there's a ghost show that I've read many times, and it's called The Gift of Rights, and it reads, quote, "The true path lies in affairs of this world." The Golden Light Sutra states, quote, "To have a profound knowledge of this world is itself Buddhism." It goes on further. The Nirvana Sutra states, quote, "All of the non-Buddhist scriptures and writings aside by themselves, Buddhist teachings, not non-Buddhist teachings," unquote. He goes on further. When the great teacher Milo compared these passages with the one from the 6th volume of the Lotus Sutra, that reads, quote, "No worldly affairs of life are ever contrary to the true reality." He revealed their meanings and pointed out that although the first two sutras are profound, since their meanings is still shallow and never fails to approach that of the Lotus Sutra. They relate to secular matters in terms of Buddhism, whereas the Lotus Sutra explains that in the end, secular matters are the entirety of Buddhism. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Buddhism is learning life, learning how to get along in this world, and it's about the law of cause and effect. It's not about some Japanese or some Asian person. It's not about sitting around meditating. You cannot be successful in life sitting around meditating. You become successful by understanding and using the law of cause and effect. Nichiren writes, in the Ghost Show on Attaining Buddhahood, it reads, quote, "If the minds of living beings are impure, their land is also impure. But if their minds are pure, so is their land. There are not two lands, pure or impure in themselves. The difference lies solely in the good or evil of our minds." He goes on further. It is the same with the Buddha and an ordinary being. When deluded, one is called an ordinary being. But when enlightened, one is called a Buddha. This is similar to a tarnished mirror that would shine like a jewel when polished. A mind now clouded by delusions of innate darkness is like a tarnished mirror, but when polished, it is sure to become like a clear mirror, reflecting the essential nature of phenomena and the true aspect of reality. He says, arouse faith and diligently polish your mirror day and night. How should you polish it? Only by chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. See, if the minds of the people are pure, the land can be pure. You change people on the inside by giving them a philosophy. The Lotus Sutra can help people because the Lotus Sutra purifies the mind. If the mind is pure, so shall the land. We don't have to go nowhere called heaven and die. We can make the world a great place by teaching true Buddhism and people correct their minds and they correct themselves. Now, the Japanese Buddhist teachers, when they came to America, they came with their Buddhist teachings that is not the Lotus Sutra. They teach a Buddhism whereas you look outside yourself in the Gosho on attaining Buddhahood. Even though the Japanese taught us to chant Myoho Renge Kyo, Nichiren writes, quote, nevertheless, even though you chant and believe in Myoho Renge Kyo, if you think the law is outside yourself, you are embracing not the mystic law, but an inferior teaching. Inferior teaching means those other than the Lotus Sutra, which are all expedient and provisional. No expedient or provisional teaching leads directly to enlightenment, and without a direct path to enlightenment, you cannot attain Buddhahood, even if you practice lifetime after lifetime for countless kalpas. Attaining Buddhahood is then impossible. See, there is no place called heaven or hell. Heaven and hell exist within us. You change the minds of the people by giving them the correct teachings. And the correct teachings is not this organization, not that organization, this person. Nichiren and Shakyamuni says, put faith in the law and not in persons. Now, the Japanese teach a provisional teachings. Again, Nichiren writes in the object of devotion of observing the mind. In this Gosho, he says, when one knows the Lotus Sutra, one understands the meaning of all worldly affairs. We at the Proud Black Buddhists give you the teachings of Nichiren. We give you history. We give you science, archaeologically, anthropology, genetic science, history. We give you universal laws so you can understand. And by giving people the information, they can become enlightened. And the only way you're going to change the society is by changing the people and giving them the correct teachings of enlightenment. Understanding worldly affairs in true Buddhism, this gives one the power to change things. By inspiring you to fight, you stand up and fight. The Lotus Sutra represents a beautiful flower growing out of a murky swamp. What does this mean? It means, ladies and gentlemen, but if we tap our Buddha nature, just like the lotus flower comes out of the swamp, our innate Buddha nature can come up and we can help change the society by changing ourselves. I never heard of a winter that didn't turn into spring. I never heard of a winter that did not turn into spring. With the Lotus teachings you can overcome anything. I bring a message to you. It's about the greatness of the Lotus Sutra. I never heard of a winter that did not turn into spring. With the Lotus teachings you can overcome anything. I bring a message to you. It's about the greatness of the Lotus Sutra. I've never heard of winter that didn't turn into spring. With the Lotus teachings you can attain and attain. There's one thing that I want you to know. To learn the sutra you must study and go show. It means I never heard of winter, then I turn into spring. This is the song that I sing. The Lotus Sutra will bring benefits to you. you'll be able to help others change their life too. I've never heard of winter and a turn in the spring. Nam yo ringe go, it's the way the rich karma go. Nam yo ringe go, it's the way the rich karma go. Nam yo ringe go, it's the way the rich karma go. Nam yo ringe go, it's the way the rich karma